Howdy folks, how are we doing? Now as you can see, we've got a bit of a lineup today. We've got the old TW, the Fastrac and New Holland T7. Now what I thought we'd look at in today's video is how tractors have transformed their driver comfort and suspension systems over the years, from obviously like the TW, the Fastrac and the T7. They're all completely different, but they're all about the same size tractor. They're all roughly 160, 170 horsepower. So it's quite a good comparison between where they were 40 years ago to sort of where they are now. So let's have a look, shall we? So one of the first things you notice about all three is the different layout. Now I've actually got them in the wrong order, because it should be the TW, then the New Holland, and then the Fastrac. So what I mean by that is, if you look at where the cab is placed on the TW, the driver's seat is directly over the rear axle, whereas on the T7 the driver's seat is forward of the rear axle, along with the cab, and everything's a bit more forward. And then you've got the Fastrac again, which takes it to the extreme. The cab is centrally placed. Now that is all to do with comfort. So with being sat over the rear axle, you're getting 100% of that vertical travel when the axle moves up and down over uneven ground. Bit like when you're in the rear seat of a car. When you're in the rear seat, you tend to be sat above the rear axle, so you're getting more of that vertical movement. So on the New Holland T7 210, they've moved the cab forward, and what that means is you're not then sat directly above that rear axle, so you're getting slightly less vertical movement. So then we've got the JCB Fatsrac with the centrally mounted cab. Now what that does is it places the cab directly in the middle of the two axles, so you're minimising as much as possible that vertical impact from each axle. Right, so we'll just use this bar and the weights of the TW just to demonstrate what I mean. So this end here is the rear axle of the TW, okay? So when that's level at the minute, when that reaches a bump, it goes up like that. So the seat being over that end, the seat receives all of that travel, all right? Now, so we go to the T7, so we'll say the seat is about there. So we go the same amount there, but because the seat's mounted further forward, you're getting less travel, more comfortable. Then we go to the Fastrac, obviously. Seat's in the middle now. So we go to the same height there. Now, that seat on the Fastrac has only moved that much, which is why, one of the reasons why, the Fastracs are a lot more comfortable than a conventional tractor, and why conventional tractors like the T7 are more comfortable than the LTW. Now it's not just the position of the cab that has a bearing on machine comfort. Of course, you've got suspension, or a lack of it, on the TW25. You've got no front suspension, no rear suspension obviously, and no cab suspension. The only suspension we've got is, I've got an air seat in there, so we've got suspension on the seat, and we've got suspension on the tyres, because of course how hard your tyre pressures are have a bearing on how comfortable the ride is. Higher tyre pressures on a tractor with no suspension will no doubt lead to a lot of bouncing down the road. So on the TW I do tend to run at lower pressures, not quite that low. She's obviously got a little bit of a leak on her, but low enough that the tyres are then they're soaking up some bumps and giving you a smoother ride. We're starting to make some progress now. We've got the New Holland T7 Terraglide hydraulically suspended front axle. So obviously front axle, we've got something extra now other than the tyres to give us some suspension, to take some bumps out. We've also got cab suspension. Now there's two main types. You've got mechanical springs, which is what this tractor has got fitted, but you can also have airbags. We've now also got a much plusher seat, which gives you more damping and more support. So of course on the Fastrac we've got suspension on the front axle and the rear axle, unlike the T7 where it's just on the front axle, and the TW of course none at all. So the front axle of the Fastrac has got mechanical springs with shock absorbers. Now on the rear, it's a bit more technical. It's essentially got Citroen hydrogas suspension, and indeed the original spheres on this tractor has still got the Citroen stamps in them. So, but it's a very good system. It gives you quite a few benefits. You've got self-leveling, so no matter what load you put on the rear, the tractor compensates by pumping more hydraulic oil in to the system to compensate for the extra weight on the suspension. And it's quite a compact system. So what you've got on each side, you've got two nitrogen gas spheres, and they provide the shock absorbance, if you will, whereas they then lead into the hydraulic cylinder, which provides the actual pushing force against the axle. So it's a very good system, and JCB have evolved this system onto the latest tractors to include it on the front as well, and it's on the latest tractors. It's even better than this, and I mean the suspension on these is fantastic. So yeah, I mean, you put all them things together on the Fastrac, the centrally mounted cab, the front and rear suspension, of course there's this air suspended seat. No air suspended cab on this because it doesn't need it, but you put all them things together and that's what just gives you a superior ride comfort over like the conventional tractor, the T7. But saying that, the T7 gives you much better ride comfort than the TW. Right, let's actually see what that means for driver comfort. Obviously TW first, about 17-18 miles an hour, a bit of rough road. As you can see, it's not very comfortable. I'm getting bounced all over the shop. On to the T7 now, we're doing the same speed as the TW, 30 kilometres an hour. Same bit of road. Yeah, as you can see, still a little bit rough, but I weren't bouncing like I was in the TW, was I? Much smoother, much smoother. Let's see how the Fastrac handles it. Same bit of road, same speed. How different is that? Completely different from the T7 and the TW. Made hell of a difference. That's where the all-round suspension comes in, and the centrally mounted cab, you know, all just adds up to a smoother ride. Demonstration of how tractor comfort has evolved over the years from the TW25 to the T7 to the Fastrac, and so along with that driver comfort also comes safety, and safety and speed, really, because you really wouldn't want to be driving the TW25 any faster than its top speed of 30 kilometers an hour, because it's only got rear braking. It hasn't got anything like ABS or anything like that, and with no suspension you wouldn't be able to control it. The T7 goes a step further. That can do 50k. Some models are equipped with ABS actually on the T7s, so that's with that front suspension, in particular that front suspension, that gives you the ability to control it safely at the 50 kilometers an hour. But to go faster than that, well, you can go faster than that with conventional tractors, but in my opinion, to go faster than that safely, like up to 70 kilometers an hour with the Fastrac, you need that full suspension. You really do. Of course, Fastrac ABS as well, provides ABS trailer brake into a trailer that's got it. So I mean, the comfort and the suspension and the speed really goes hand in hand. So yeah, I hope you found that an interesting video, and I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ta!